Hello, everybody, and welcome to another tier-making extravaganza Simpsons special. This is brought in collaboration with the Simpsons Showdown, UDS's #1 internationally recognised podcast, Simpsons Showdown. I'm Craig, your host, but I'm not, by myself. I usually get joined by other hosts. Joining me to my that way, Tom Baker.
Hi, I'm over here.
He's in the middle. He's in the sandwich. Dobbie and Craig sandwich.
Isn't it the filling that's the thing, the sandwich, though?
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have a bread sandwich.
I have a bread. Well, has anyone? You've had a bread sandwich before, haven't you? What do they call them?
What? When you just put
so
three slices of bread?
Yeah. So you got like a ploughman's. Is that like you? So you got cheese.
Oh, where you have like a third layer.
Yeah.
Well, like a Big Mac.
Yeah, you're the Big Mac.
That's what they call me.
Dobby, are you okay?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
He's here.
How's the chicken wings treating you these days?
I mean, it's been a day since I ate them, and I'm feeling fine in that regard, but I'm being very tired.
Okay.
You'll
be. I know that. After staying up all night laughing at people on Dorosaurus.
I think half of the issue is just quite how hard I laughed yesterday. My chest is very tight today, and I'm struggling to breathe a bit.
That is the conversation we will tell you about, Tom, later on. If you could say more central to your video feed, that'd be great. Otherwise, I will move it. Thank you. Today, we will be doing a ranking list, a ranking spankings lists, if we're still calling it that, about the Simpsons video games.
Hey, What other word rhymes with rankings?
We are rankers. That's a far better name.
Dirty rankers. As you can see above us, it didn't update the D column to Boo-urns, sadly.
Pretend.
Magic. Fix that in post.
Cut that.
We will be using the rankings Boo-urns, C, B, A, and Sexy Flanders to rate the Simpsons video games. And as I am aware, there are some really good ones and there are some stonkers. So we will get through what we have in front of us today.
I really wish that Sexy Flanders was recognised by all the exam boards as like an A-level grade, like on results day. But yes, I got a Sexy Flanders in maths.
Could you imagine? What did you get a 40 or above in your uni work? Oh, I just got a regular Flanders. Oh, you 60. Yeah. That's the Sexy Flanders. That's what you need.
I flunked. I got a Boo-urns.
I got a U. I got a dead Maud. That's the way it works.
Too soon.
Too soon. So we'll be going chronologically. There's some gaps in our knowledge where we don't know about these games, but
I might have some of them here.
Most of the early ones are garbage anyway, so we don't need to worry too much about that. But with further ado, should we get down to it?
Sure.
Mo.
How do you like me? How do you like me?
So the first game is The Simpsons : no, is that colon? Whatever. Bart versus the Space Mutants. Do anyone here have any knowledge of this game?
Never played it.
Do anyone here have any knowledge of it?
No.
English? I don't think... Is this... Oh, I mean, it probably is because they all were. This is like the side-scroller one where everyone in Springfield is turned into a space mutant and you've got to just jump on them.
Yes, so the opening level, I believe, is like you're walking through Springfield and you play as Bart trying to get rid of the Space Mutants. And so it was released around 91. And if you remember, 91, what season was that? Season 2?
2.
Yeah, so Bart was the main focus of the show and Space Mutants don't really have anything to do with the Simpsons cartoon. So I think this was a bit of a, Bart is the mainstay. We need to make a game about him.
Hey, look
there! I got my Mega Drive version in my thing somewhere, but I ain't getting it.
Where the sticker is, like he's just got on a random cartridge and put it on.
Yeah, he just keeps random Simpsons.
Just throughout this episode, he's going to do it for every game.
The Simpsons Arcade cabinet. Well, look what I've got here.
Wow, sure.
This game is very hard and...
Oh, it's impossible.
It is, and it's not very fun either because of how difficult it is. and just like most games, like it doesn't really have that much of a lasting effect on myself.
It just doesn't have much Simpsons identity beyond the art style either. Like, it could be any side-scroller platformer.
Yep.
Beyond the fact that it's Simpsons sprites. That's it.
Yep. So with that in mind, I'm likely to open this up with a D straight away.
You mean a Boo-urns?
A Boo-urns. Anyone disagree?
No.
Stick it in Boo-urns.
Okay. Does anyone know what our next game is?
Wikipedia to the rescue. Would that be the aforementioned Simpsons Arcade game?
It is made by Konami in '91 as well. This is a beat 'em up and a bit of a quarter stuffer where quarter pounder. I like that. Don't
Good
cut
burger,
that.
good arcade machine.
This has more of a Simpsons-esque story, which sees I think it's the diamond. There's a robbery. There's a diamond. The diamond accidentally is Maggie's pacifier, and then Mr. Burns and Mr. Smithers steals Maggie. So the Simpson family chase after her. I hope I've got that right. I haven't played that game in years because they re-released it on the PlayStation. Thoughts?
I was just going to say my only memory of this game, because I never had it on Xbox Live Arcade when it was there, was going to the Isle of Wight and going on Shanklin Pier and playing it in their little arcade thing there, where it was super cheap because it was at that time. It didn't really have this, because this is going back like 15 years. It didn't have sort of the retro appeal that it does now. So I think it was like 30p a go. So I ended up like basically completing it on like a tenner. So it's pretty good.
That would be 40 quid these days.
It certainly would. It certainly, if not more.
I think this is you can play as different Simpsons family members, and they all have their different sprites, different animation, different voice work, all from the cast. And I feel like it's got more of a Simpsons personality and playability when compared to the Space Mutants game that was moved out.
I mean, most of the Simpsons family members you can play as, they have individual attacks that represent their character. Like, doesn't Marge have like a vacuum cleaner?
I think she pulls the vacuum cleaner out of her hair or something and just starts attacking people
Marge.
with. Classic. She loves her vacuum cleaner.
Women, am I right?
I don't get it.
Can we cancel him yet?
I've been saying that for years. I tried
didn't
getting
make
rid
the
of
game.
tried getting rid of him, and I got rid of Paul instead.
Rip.
So the problem is with this game, as they re-released it on Xbox Live and PSN, obviously there's no quarters, and you can just blaze through this game in about one sitting. I think Giant Bomb did a preview, and they actually had to stop it early because they would have just completed the whole game. But that is a game of its time. But I'm okay giving it a B. Tom?
See, I would sort of teeter between B and A, but I know that there's some real good games coming up, so B sounds right.
Okay, there we go. There's the cabinet for the B. We now have Bart's House of Weirdness, which is a weird one because it was a MS-DOS game. Anyone have anything MS-DOS related?
No.
I think I owned a floppy disk once.
Okay, good for you, babe. Good for you.
You rubbed it and it became a hard drive.
Hey, I thought you were just going to go lazy with hard disk, but you actually made that real clever. I appreciate that, Dobbie. Well done. That's why we have you.
So the game's got 6 levels, and it's single screen movement. And from what I can see, it was heavily criticised for the gameplay, and the graphics and sound were positive. But it is a DOS game, and what you would expect from a DOS game, it is a DOS game. If you don't know a DOS game, I'm not going to say DOS game anymore. DOS game.
DOS.
DOS game by name, DOS game by nature.
What do we think for this sort of game that none of us have played? I don't know how the ranking works in this respect.
Give it a C?
Don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't played it, and I actually found like a modicum of enjoyment with Space Mutants, so put it below Space Mutants.
Okay. What if, here's an unprecedented thing, if we haven't played it, we just leave it off the list, or are we going to rank all of them?
I think that's a good idea.
Tom's
Spoiler alert! I've only played like 6 of these.
I was going to say, let's see how many of these are left by the end if we don't do the ones that we haven't played.
So, am I bringing it up now? You reckon?
I'd say leave it out. Leave it out.
Okay.
It's only, I suppose, it's only fair.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see how bad this goes on the fly.
It's only uphill from here.
Bart Simpson's escape from Camp Deadly. So
Deadly.
First thing, is there something you feel like this could have been called that might be a bit better? Just off the top of your head as a Simpsons fan.
Camp Deadly.
Escape from Camp
Krusty.
Yes. The plot of the game is similar to that of Camp Krusty, and just looking at the artwork, it does seem to be like that. It got mixed to negative reviews. I did remember borrowing this game from someone when I was a little wee lad, and it was like similar to the Space Mutants game, but not as fun. And obviously it's on the Game Boy, there's more limited capabilities. It's just a simple jumping and shooting game with, anyone could have put SpongeBob in there instead, probably would have been the same game. Who knows?
That might have been better.
But yeah, they would have had Krabby Patties instead of pounding quarters.
Also, it would have come out 6 years before SpongeBob was even released, so that would have been very impressive.
They would have, yeah. I'm going to say this is a Boo-urns tier.
Yeah, I would give Camp Deadly a big old boo.
Big old boo. At least you got your laugh out of Camp Diddley. That's something.
Deadly.
Next up, in 1991, because apparently that's when all Simpsons video games was released, is Bart versus the World. This came out for the NHS. The NHS? Oh, God. Captain Sir Tom, you've ruined my mind.
Don't worry, he can't hurt you anymore.
Too soon?
I just love the idea of Captain Tom being someone's sleep paralysis demon.
Captain Sir Tom, please.
Bart
Captain
versus the World is an NES, where you go around in a side-scrolling platformer to China, the North Pole, Egypt, and Hollywood, and each area pits Bart against a new boss, which are all members of the Burns clan. Fu Manchu Burns, second cousin's great nephew, the unbiddable Snow Burns, maternal,
the abominable
grand uncle Ramesses Burns, and the unspecified relation to Eric von Burns. So it's got a bit more creativity there than the other games.
Well, I've played this one. Excuse me. And we say that the Bart versus the Space Mutants didn't really have much of a Simpsons identity beyond the sprites. I've played this, but I don't actually own it. This has even less of a Simpsons identity because the levels are just places in the world. They're not even Springfield locales. They could be literally a Mario game. It's so weird.
So just like, hey, it's Paris. Put the Eiffel Tower and some baguettes in the back.
Literally Bart in Paris. With a slightly racist.
It worked for the Rugrats.
It did. Now that's a sequel I enjoy. Rugrats movie 1 is better though, in my opinion.
Where would you put Bart versus the World, seeing as it sounds like you've got some more knowledge of this?
1991 was not a good year for Simpsons games. I put it in Boo-urns.
Before or after Space Mutants?
Probably after.
Okay. Before or after Escape from Camp Deadly?
Deadly. I would probably put it above it purely because it has slightly better tech than the Game Boy. Can I just say we love The Simpsons? We don't hate The Simpsons. We really like it.
The next game is in 1992, September 1992, so there was a bit of a gap. Maybe people were just overloaded at that point. With the Game Boy game Bart versus the Juggernauts. The plot stars Bart from the Simpsons in a game show based on American gladiators, in which he has to compete challenges to earn money. Any thoughts on the premise so far?
I don't think I've heard of this game.
Okay.
My immediate thought was Juggernauts were juggalos, not gigolos. They might be gigolos.
Oh, I wish they were Juggalos. Bart versus the Juggalos.
Yeah, and then I realized the title was Juggernauts, and that's not what it was at all. And so now I don't care.
I love how ICP have become like the most sort of wholesome band in their later years.
Sure.
So you tackle different challenges as Bart and to earn money, and from what I can recall, some of the mini games were entertaining at the very least, and it has a bit of personality, despite the fact it's Bart versus some American gladiators, and it's got nothing to do with The Simpsons. But from a gameplay aspect, seems alright. Once again, you could probably trade someone out for like a SpongeBob to make it fun. But there we are once again. I think it might be worth a C.
I mean, has anyone played this one? I can't remember if anyone mentioned it.
Ages ago.
Then C it is.
C Burns. It should have been C Bart. C. Oh man, we're getting so. Fix that in post as well. Fix that in post. That's a reference. That works. Don't give me that look, Dobbie. Next we have Bartman meets Radioactive Man for the NES. I got it that time. I got it.
The NHS. They prescribe it.
Bart Simpson is at home reading a Radioactive Man comic, only to be shocked as Radioactive Man sidekick, Fallout Boy. Okay, I thought it was going to be a Pete Wentz joke there, but we didn't. He jumps out. Fallout Boy jumps out of it and tells Bart he must venture into the comic book. It received mostly negative reviews from critics.
See if they keep saying that.
Much like the most recent Fallout Boy album.
Though it's not a toxic waste of time, it's very average,
unlike the most recent Fallout Boy album,
which handicaps its playability and enjoyment. Only you can determine if it's a meltdown or not. Because it's Radioactive Man. Get it? Get it? They were on their stuff in 1994, weren't they?
Did someone say the goggles, they do nothing?
According
if they didn't, this is a D.
Too early for that.
Tribune Media Services in 1993 commented, "We haven't seen a bad Simpsons game yet, and Bartman's actions and graphics are just as good as the others."
Can't always be right, can we?
Those Tribune people. I haven't played it. Anyone else?
No.
Nah.
Are we leaving it for a while?
Ungradable.
Yeah. Ungradable. Bart's Nightmare for the Super NES. Who calls it that? Does anyone call it that? I don't call it
SNES.
I call it the SNES.
Bart Simpson falls asleep whilst studying and dreams of a strange universe where TVs and fairies roam the streets. The player must find Bart's lost homework and progress through the levels to keep the homework pages and eventually wake up. This was released for the Sega Mega Drive and the SNES. I had this for the Mega Drive, and I think back then it was really weird seeing Bart dream of fairies, because I don't think he would do that, and I don't think he would dream of homework either. From what I can remember, it's very similar gameplay-wise to Bart versus the Space Mutants, but is a bit easier.
Yeah, I think that gives it a little bit of an edge. Again, this is a game I've only played a little bit, but I remember it being a notch up on the Space Mutants game, kind of by default because it's got slightly nicer looking graphics, being on the SNES, SNES, Super NES, and I think it is a little bit more accessible as well. The only thing is that I believe you walk in the road at certain points, and like cars can just like randomly one-shot run you over, which is kind of annoying, but maybe I'm making that up.
And you can't see the cars come from off screen, so it really makes your enjoyability feel a lot better. Should we put it C?
I think so. I think so. Above the Juggernaut one, the Juggalo one.
I get the Juggernauts for C. Oh, get in there.
C.
I was trying to move it and I was having problems moving, and I'm just gonna move that. There we go. Making sure that the frame is in shot. Next up, we have Krusty's Funhouse, which came out for the Game Boy, the NES, the SNES, the Game Gear, the Genesis, the Sega Master System, and the PC. Any fans of Krusty's Funhouse here?
Never played it.
Are we going to rate games like this if they don't have The Simpsons as a integral character?
I think so, but at the same time, have you played this one, Craig?
I think I have.
Do you think you remember enough of it to give a rating?
No. Should we leave it?
Should we leave it? But I think as long as it's based around a Simpsons thing, we should count it.
Okay. Bart and the Beanstalk for the Game Boy in 1994. There was no games released in 1993, apparently. Can you guess what Bart and the Beanstalk is before I describe it?
Is it about beans?
Yes. Do you think it might have hints of any other sort of story?
Beans that talk. Beans that talk. Beans that talk.
Silence of the Lambs.
Bart and the beans talk.
Oh, he's got it. He should write for Fox.
I'm just going to go if this is what we're going to keep doing. You said you're open to collaboration, and I'm all against it at this point.
Yeah, my energy levels were massively down before we even started.
Oh, when I say collaborate, I mean collaborate all the way to the bottom.
Okay. It's a parody of Jack and the Beanstalk. A large
but Jack and the Beans talk.
Beans talk.
3 more years of this, really. It's a Game Boy game, and it's not good. You can't see the enemies come from off screen. It's not fun. The story's crap. There you go. I don't like it. It's a D.
Fair enough. I had a coffee before this, so I'm like bouncing for some reason.
So the beans are talking.
Ah, yes. In my tum-tum.
I'm going to go.
The Lord is my shepherd, but you're my ride home, and also the one recording this.
What? Why are we singing the Vicar of Dibley?
It's from The Simpsons.
Next up is Virtual Bart for the SNES and the Genesis, released in 1994. At a science fair, Bart wanders into a virtual reality exhibition and must pass all the virtual reality worlds to escape the machine. Passing a set of virtual reality worlds grants an ending sequence, and completing all the levels with all lives remaining wins the game. Wikipedia, what description is that? That's basically if you finish the game, you get the story. It's similar to Bart's Nightmare, except there's levels themed around different things. It was apparently okay. I played this when I was a child. I remember it controlling awful, and the stages were crap. D.
That sounds like a D.
Okay. Simpsons love the D is what I'm getting from here.
Simpsons can't make good games.
Okay.
Or can they? Stay tuned to find out.
Tune in.
Tune into the video you're watching right now.
Or don't. Next up is Itchy and Scratchy and Miniature Golf Madness for the Game Boy.
I haven't got the list up anymore. I can't tell if you're just making them up.
Maybe, you were talking about like we should talk things through a bit more before we start. I'm thinking this is one of those instances, really.
No, because we would have had to have played like 10 games in like the space of a week. I'm not doing that. These games are garbage.
Itchy and Scratchy.
You get what you're given.
Miniature Golf Madness. You play as Scratchy. Is that the cat or the mouse? I always forget.
The cat.
I'm wearing the top as well. Look at that.
I did the Iggy.
As you play through a miniature golf course of 9 holes. Imagine that. 9 holes. Whilst avoiding Itchy's attacks. You can take control of Scratchy, and you try to avoid grenades, bazookas, chainsaws, meat cleavers, dynamite. Whilst Scratchy can use baseball bats and throwing knives as power-ups. I thought it was okay for a mini golf game on the Game Boy. Looking back, there are probably some games that have done it better, but from a miniature golf sort of theme with this psychotic mouse and cat trying to attack each other, it does what it sets out to do, and there we go. C.
Sounds like a C description to me.
Okay, I'm going to put that at the top of C.
Top of C.
I've wasted a lot of my time on The Simpsons, and I'm starting to think maybe this wasn't the best use of everything. But that's...
and yet we're still doing a weekly episodic Simpsons podcast where we do nothing except watch The Simpsons.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
Subscribe.
1996 saw The Simpsons Cartoon Studio released for Microsoft Windows and Mac OS. You're nodding your head, Tom.
I had a lot of fun with this game.
Okay.
It's one of those stupid templated movie things that were popular at the time, where that you could literally drag and drop certain assets from The Simpsons, whether it be characters or scenes or something, and do like basic animation things to make them like, you know, just wave their arms like robots and whatnot. It was fun for, as you know, I was probably about 6 or 7. I couldn't really do anything beyond just sort of like make an absolutely ungodly mess, but it was fun just to sort of, you know, do your own little mini stories with the Simpsons characters. It's just like a fanfic machine. Why not?
This is the first one I've played.
Well, hey!
What did you think of it, Dobbie?
I had a Spider-Man one, and it was better.
There you go. It's not as good as Spider-Man. What are we to do?
I had a SpongeBob one.
But it uses the sounds and music and locations, so that's something as well. You know, they could have just copied and pasted in any old crap, couldn't they?
They sure have.
What would you give it then, Tom?
I don't think it's, knowing what's to come again, I would say high end of C.
Okay. We'll put it before Itchy and Scratchy Golf.
Impy and Pimpy.
I just, you know, I'm glad that we could have someone else's opinion on this thus far. Then we have Virtual Springfield.
Have we skipped the Itchy and Scratchy game?
Oh, yes, we have. You're right. I do apologise. The light's getting to me here. The Itchy and Scratchy game, 1995 for the SNES, the Game Gear, and the Genesis. Obviously, it stars Itchy and Scratchy. It's a side-scrolling platform game taking place in from The Simpsons. 7 levels in the game. You control Itchy, the mouse this time, trying to torture and kill Scratchy. You run around the levels by attacking Scratchy and other enemies. It looks like it got negative reviews, saying if the video game industry ever comes crashing down, Itchy and Scratchy will be near the top of the blame us list.
Oh wow!
Easy gameplay and absence of excessive violence and theme song, which made Itchy and Scratchy popular.
So it's an Itchy and Scratchy game that doesn't have the we fight and bite and fight and bite and bite.
It's fight and fight and fight. Where's the bite come from?
I thought it was fight, bite.
I thought it was just fight.
No, it's fight and bite.
That's a Marilyn Manson song, isn't it?
We can't talk about him anymore.
Yeah. Cut that.
Is he cancelled like Tom Baker now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do not put me in that bracket. Come on.
I can't recall playing this, although I'm sure I have. So if that's any intuition to anything.
That sounds like an ungradable to me.
Okay. Just like us. Ungradable.
I thought we were undateable.
I think it's funnier if it's just fight over and over again.
Virtual Springfield was released for Windows and Macintosh. This was a first-person adventure game that allows you to explore Springfield in 3D. I think this was the first time where you could look at Springfield and the way they had mapped it out. To this day, it's still not canonical on how the town is laid out, but it was interesting to see someone give it a go at the first time. I remember this being really weird. Did anyone else play this?
Yep.
No, but I saw a trailer for it loads and I thought it looked great.
Yeah, I remember enjoying it, but calling it a game is a bit of a stretch, right? Because there's no real objective, is there? It's just kind of a interactive map that you can walk around.
You're going to say it's a walking simulator before its time?
I guess you could be right to say that. I mean, because it wasn't even like you walked around. It was just point and click. It was almost like Google Maps for Simpsons, where you just kind of street view your way around Springfield.
You can see there's like little gags in there and some of the characters, and you can see voice clips and things like that and references. But yeah, there's no real objective or things you need to do.
I remember having a good time with it though, for what it was. Obviously, there's not really that much sort of longevity with it, but I remember enjoying just sort of dicking about and seeing what gags I could find.
Where would you put it?
I might say low B, to be honest.
Low B, because we're getting that desperate. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think what I'm taking away from this list thus far is that we need to start streaming Simpsons games and never look back, because it sounds like something that is going to be a very good endeavour.
Did you hear, like, this is a massive tangent, but did you hear about the guy that modded Hit and Run so that all the worlds were connected through like new assets and everything?
I have the mod.
Do you? Well,
Yeah.
how's it play?
And they've got Road Rage in there as well.
What, in the
They put
in the Hit and
road,
Run engine?
They put Road Rage into Hit and Run.
That's pretty cool.
I think
Anyway.
I was going to send you some links after this from the sounds of it.
I think you might, but we'll talk about those games in a little bit. Craig, please do continue.
The Simpsons Night of the Living Treehouse of Horror, which is a mouthful, no matter how
Dumb
you cut
name.
it. I feel like they couldn't just call it Treehouse of Horror, and someone had to step in there. 7
You know
levels.
what this needs? More words.
7 levels where you control members of the Simpsons family. It was released for the Game Boy Color in 2001. It shows they tried to recreate tales from the Treehouse of Horror episodes, with all 5 members of the Simpsons family. So, for instance, Marge is in a zombie tale, Maggie as a fly, Lisa is fighting cannibalistic teachers, Bart rescuing Santa's little helper from a haunted house, and Homer as a vampire killer, a robot, and of course, King Homer, the large ape. From what I can remember, I only had it on the Game Boy because, you know, some of those... I think this one was for the Game Boy Color, and I borrowed one to play it because I didn't have a Game Boy Color. I never did. Never did. Game Boy Advance all the way.
Hell yeah.
And I remember enjoying this because it was better side scroll, a better story, and just all of the previous games were just like, that's not how you do it. Let's actually put some time into it and do that. And they did, and it came out better and fits in with The Simpsons more because of it. Did anyone else play this?
No.
Right knob.
Okay. Low B.
There we go.
There we go. Next, we have The Simpsons Wrestling for the PlayStation 1. So, for those of you that don't know, me and Tom are wrestling fans. And
Fans. It's like a Stockholm Syndrome type thing at this point.
So, this was released in 2001, developed by Big Ape Production. I haven't heard much from them these days. I can only assume they're doing good. There are 20 characters in the game, all of whom are voiced by the same actors that provide their voice for the show. Each character executes their own moves and gestures in a wrestling ring. The matches take place in locations from Springfield, and a round in the game ends when one wrestler pins their opponent for a free count. Before we get to our impressions, have we all played this game?
Yes.
Sure have.
This is the only one that I can see in my notes, just on the top of the screen, that says, this game was widely panned by critics and considered to be one of the worst video games of all time. Opinions?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really like this game. I know it's broken. I know it sucks. But it's broken in a way that you can laugh at it, and like you can just spam Barney Burpin as an attack, and it's just so silly, and I love it.
On one hand, I'm glad that our boy Willie was able to grace the front cover because he deserves that recognition.
That's S tier immediately.
Exactly. The game is ugly.
Oh,
It is really ugly.
even by the standards of the time.
Yes. It doesn't play that well, as you mentioned.
Nope.
It's got good sound, I suppose.
I mean, you're saying all these things. I'm still thinking A. I'm still
Kent
thinking
Brockman
A.
is really annoying in this game with his commentary. He would not make a good wrestling commentator.
Commentator. Common potato.
The outlines, they went for this weird cell shading, and sometimes it seems like the lines just disappear. Where are we all thinking? Dobbie, what's your opinion?
I mean, A. I remember really enjoying this game. I had a lot of fun with it.
Okay.
And I mean, there was some utter bullshit in this game, like Ned Flanders praying to God and getting to kill you immediately. But I loved it. I thought it was really fun.
Oh, okay, there we go. It's cemented as a.
Oh, this is going to get so much hate.
Jeez. Okay, but it's okay. We've reached the 2000 mark, so things are starting to get better, guys. A game that is arguably better than Crazy Taxi, Simpsons Road Rage, released for the PS2, Xbox, GameCube, Game Boy Advance in 2001. Crazy Taxi is a game where you drive and pick people up and drop them off. This game is a clone. All you do is drive around Springfield, pick people up, drop them off, to the point where Sega sued Electronic Arts and the game had to be taken off the shelf. But there was like bajillion copies available by then, so it didn't really do anything. What are we thinking about this game? I remember buying this game, not having a memory card, getting 5 hours in and being really annoyed at my dad because he knew I didn't have a memory card. And
I've
I
completed this game.
unlocked so
completed
many
this game.
people.
Yeah, I think I've completed it as well.
I'd say I've put, loads of hours of it in, put loads of hours into it in my lifetime. And about half of those hours are probably just load times, to be fair.
Oh God, yes.
But again, I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it. It's the sort of game I'd like to have nowadays, just to sort of play mindlessly while I'm listening to podcasts.
Yeah, it's that sort of game. I like the little things about this game. Like when you get your score rating at the end, it does the Atlanta Falcons joke where Krusty comes out on screen and says, "Hey, your rating is great." And
I'd say it's more akin to Mr. Black with it being Krusty.
Yeah, it's that sort of thing where it's just sort of like obviously dubbed over because they couldn't the joke is they couldn't be bothered to tell you what your rating was.
And I think as well, just the pure fact that this was the first time Virtual Springfield aside in which you can just sort of drive around the locales of Sittingbourne of Springfield.
Dogs him.
And I think a lot of my impressions of Springfield as a town probably do stem from this game. This and another game we'll come to in a minute. But this one especially, I know it like the back of my hand. And I think of Springfield as looking like it, honestly.
I have a question for you two. Did either of you play Crazy Taxi before you played Hit and Run?
No.
No.
Neither did I. So I had no sort of thing to think, oh, this is a clone or this is a copy or whatever. I just thought it was a really, really, really fun game. Yeah. And to be honest, because of the Simpsons IP, nostalgia, and just personal preference, I'd prefer Road Rage a million times over to Crazy Taxi.
It's ranked as one of the 25th highest selling game launches for the PS2, Xbox, or GameCube between January 2000 and July 2006. It was very popular, and I feel like there was a basic story, but the gameplay felt good and the references were well done, and you could tell it was done by some developers who were fans as well. Are we talking A?
I think we're talking S.
I wouldn't go that far. I'd put it in A.
Okay, then top of A then.
Top of A.
Fair enough.
Okay.
It's got to be better than Simpsons Wrestling. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay. After Road Rage was the Simpsons Skateboarding. This is a game where there's Simpsons and they're skateboarding and everyone in town is skateboarding. I think there's no story. The story's on the back of the box that every skating frenzy has hit the town and there's a tournament to win $100. So everyone's got on their skateboard to skateboard. I don't know.
I mean, a good skateboard is well over £100. So
there you go.
$100. So.
This was released in 2002. And once again, I would like to say the game was widely panned by critics and considered one of the worst video games of all time.
I remember being really hyped for Simpsons Skateboarding because in Simpsons Road Rage, they had billboards that were advertising the fact Simpsons Skateboarding was going to be coming out. So when it came out, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And I mean, I think the Simpsons Skateboarding is a game that when you play it, you can see there's a lot of different things that should be great. There's loads of cool worlds. I remember, I think there might be an Itchy and Scratchy Land world, which I thought was really cool. There's really cool sort of tasks and things to do. And I think it's really let down by its mechanics more than anything. It just feels like shit to play.
Well, it came out at the time when like Tony Hawk was sort of the thing. Like I think it was between 3 and 4. Pro Skater 3 and 4.
Tony Hawk had been out for a decent amount of time for them to know good mechanics. And
yeah, exactly. And like, you know, they could have just cloned, like they did with Road Rage, they could have just cloned the mechanics and done a good job, but it was just so sloppy, and it felt like it was a cash grab to sort of capitalize on the hype of the skateboarding game genre. The only thing that I remember about this game and enjoying it was the Ken Brockman saying what your moves were as you did them. 50-50 grind, nose grab.
He's done an ollie. You say like the levels are nice to go around, but it feels like you are controlling a horse with shit on his hooves going through mud, and
that's a lot of brown.
It's just like this game.
Just like my nose.
I've played this game and I tried getting good at it, but there is no rhyme or reason why you fall over off your skateboard, and it is just so maddening. And for that, it's like, Dobbie, you say, somewhere in there's a good game.
Yeah.
It's not. Sadly, it's not. C?
Low end of C, I'd say.
Say low end of C, yeah.
Low end, right, there you go. This late in the game, you hate to see it. Then we had Road Rage for the GBA, but we're just going to link that with the other version. It's completely different studio, different sort of graphics, and it's good. So the next game is The Simpsons Hit and Run, released in 2003 for the GameCube, PlayStation, Xbox, and the Windows PC. It was developed by Radical Entertainment and published by Vivendi, and it sees the Simpsons family and their friend Hapu witness many strange incidents in Simpsons, like security cameras propping up mysterious fans, crop circles, and a new and improved Buzz Cola drink that causes insanity. Homer, the game starts, because I launched it yesterday, funnily enough, with Homer seeing an advert for Buzz Cola, and he gets up and drives to the shop to get one. From there, it goes crazy.
It isn't, because they, before you, or the loading screen for every mission, there's a new newspaper headline thing. And the first mission, I remember distinctly having the subtitle or the sub headline, 90% of video games start with easy tutorial level or something like that, before an easy tutorial level.
Yep. And it's even the Bart is your tutorial master, and it says, "Oh, player 1, Homer, like they're already lapping it up." The game is similar to that of GTA, and there's different sections. It's not completely open world because there's different areas. So like Homer's the first area, and then different characters can do different areas, and you can just steal whatever cars. There's platforming sections as well. Like GTA, there's a variety of missions, different things for you to do. It's all in 3D. It's the original voice actors. I think they got in some of the writers. Collectibles, hidden gags, mentionings of the series, just
variety.
Mission variety, different things for fans, things that you won't even notice on the first playthrough. It's been hailed as one of the best Simpsons games to date. After ranking them, we see why that wasn't a hard distinction to make. Am I missing anything? Because my voice is starting to go dry.
Nah, mate.
It's all right.
It's good, baby.
It's right. It's my favorite game, like Simpsons or otherwise.
Really?
If you go on the About Us section of the UDS website, you'll see our favorite games, movies, and whatnot. My favorite game is down as The Simpsons Hit and Run. Whilst
Road Rage took a definitely clone sort of aspect from Crazy Taxi, this seemed more of a parody, like on the GTA aspect.
A homage,
yes. So they didn't have guns, but they didn't need to, and what they did add to it was good. And It was just by a few cheat codes you could break the whole game, and that was great too.
That was and the modding community, which I know, Craig, you've been not involved in making the mods, but in enjoying the mods. It's meant that it's had Craig is the modder man of a Hit and Run. It's still not still as popular, but it still has a supremely loyal fan base to this day. Like it's nearly 20. It came out 2003, wasn't it?
Yep. So to this day,
18 years.
You could never get the game digitally on PC, so you had to have a disc. And all these years later, they are still modding it. It's called Donut Team with Donut Mod 4. So you have to jump through some hoops if you wish to play it with the mod. But just like us, it had a lasting effect on some people, and it worked out well. And
I thought you meant that we, as in UDS, had a lasting effect on some people. Like, no, we haven't.
We have the wrong sort of effect on people. What I will say as well, you don't even notice it really with other games, but this one, just the incremental music was, I think, exclusive for the game, and it fits in well, and it would have even fit in well with the television show. It was very well done in all those aspects. What are we thinking?
Sexy Flanders.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best. It's just the best.
It's just the best. Okay, there we go. After that, we have the Simpsons Game, which was released on the Xbox 360, the Nintendo DS, the PlayStation 2, the Wii, the PlayStation 3, and the PlayStation Portable. This is a game where it's a 3D platformer game where you play as most of the Simpsons, where they realise they are in a game, and they do many parodies of other video games. It was published by EA, so there's even like Medal of Honor and stuff like that thrown in there. I think one of the bosses is the creator of The Sims, and you go to different scenarios, and whilst they take those aspects of other games, the gameplay still is a 3D platformer where you can shoot stuff, jump over stuff, attack stuff, and things like that. It has many homages to the Simpsons show. It was nice having the candy world where Homer thinks about
the land of chocolate.
The land of chocolate in HD. That was very nice to see. And it has loads of references to other, Simpsons works as well. I've played, I think, nearly every incarnation of this game. And DS even had a different art style and a slightly different story because it was the DS. But
Didn't it have a pet Homer as well in the DS version?
Yes, so you just poke Homer with the stylus, similar to that of Nintendogs. Did either of you two play any of these?
I've played the Wii version. I think I've played the Xbox 360 version, and I love them both.
I had the 360 version, and I remember enjoying it a lot. I remember having a harder time finishing it than Hit and Run, purely because I think I held Hit and Run on such a pedestal that it would never have lived up to it in my estimation. Also, I think it suffered because it still had huge maps, but not having vehicles kind of slowed down the whole thing, in my opinion. I would have loved for it to have had cars as well. I know that kind of defeats the object of a platformer, but as sort of like a personal gripe with that. With that being said, I still had a huge amount of fun with it. And I think it is one of the prettiest, if not the prettiest, Simpsons game, because it kind of took that cel-shaded art style of the wrestling game and just perfected it.
Yes, I agree. It does look a lot better than Simpsons Wrestling.
I mean, hot takes here.
I enjoyed it for the most part. I know they had the different sort of things like they would parody video game stuff. So like you got a trophy for saying, oh, look, time trials. That's one way to make the game get longer, even if it's boring. And then they did time trials as well. So they were not afraid to know what was in the game and make fun of themselves. I'm not very sure that this is in the Sexy Flanders tier, however. Perhaps high A.
Yeah, I would put it below Road Rage personally, but I would understand if people didn't.
Dobbie, where do you feel?
I'd have put it at Sexy Flanders.
Really?
Interesting.
Well, what do we do?
Split the difference, put it right at the top of A?
Yeah, let's do that. I can't commit to anything else. I do apologise. Then we have a mobile game called Minutes to Meltdown, which I don't think any of us have played.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Itchy and Scratchy Land, another mobile game, which I don't think anyone else has played.
Nope.
These were mobile games, not iPhone or iOS, for anyone that's wondering.
Oh wow, they are. Yeah,
Yep.
they're going to be garbage.
We have the Simpsons Arcade, which I believe is the aforementioned arcade game released for iOS.
Yep.
Not quite. It was a spiritual sort of recreation, but they took out a lot of the personality of the original. In that a lot of the attacks were much more sort of just punch and kick. It didn't have like, say, Marge pulling the vacuum cleaner out of her hair, and yeah, it was just a lot more generic. And also, you can't play it anymore, which sucks because I couldn't even review it ahead of time.
That
Not that I would have
64-bit update on iPhones ruined.
I know.
Flappy
I want to
Bird.
play Flappy Birds.
Yeah, there
I
you
still
go.
had it. But I'm saying this by that fact should get ranked lower than the original Simpsons Arcade. Personally.
Okay. That makes sense. And there was a game also on mobile called Itchy's. Did I do Itchy and Scratchy Land? I did, didn't I?
You sure did.
Well, it was just. I think it's important to note that you could play as any of the Simpsons, excluding Maggie, and go through Explosion Land, Unnecessary Surgery Land, Torture Land, and Searing Gas Pain Land. And apparently,
Hey, we just did that episode.
Apparently,
Not yet. We haven't.
From the future, in the past, and a game apparently takes 30 minutes to complete. So there you go, just what you
Worth
want.
every penny.
So this one is a bit controversial because I think it's good. It's the last Simpsons game that has come out, and that was 2012. We are overdue some new Simpsons games, everyone, even if they're bad. It's Simpsons Tapped Out. It came out for iOS and then a year later on Android. And it is similar to that of SimCity. Of course, back then, and still to this day, when you make SimCity city builders on mobile, there is all of the in-app purchases, timers, and if you were to have this game without it, it would be easy to complete in a day. And you basically, Homer, is on his iPad, neglects his work, and then a meltdown happens, and he has to rebuild Springfield from the ground up. It's a city building game with all of the Simpsons stuff that you want, really. Voice acting, background music, and it's a city building game. I don't know what else to say. I presume we've all played it.
Yeah,
I've not played it.
I played this a whole bunch for a couple of years, and I think as much as there is sort of the argument to be made that it is a bit of a cash grab, it does have a lot of effort put into it. Like, it even had original scenes animated for the for sort of the cutscenes, with all the, as you say, all the original voice actors, proper animation and everything. And you can't knock anything like that. And it does have some really cool little Easter eggs. Like, you can even build the escalator that goes to nowhere, which is kind of fun. So I would say you give it credit for that. And I don't play it now, but my dad still plays it every day, and he has done for like over 5 years now. It's crazy.
Wow.
And they have kept supporting it. They've kept adding things to it, and it's it's one of those games that I think it'd be difficult to get into now because there's just so much there. Whereas at the start, it was easier to sort of get further along quicker.
And they hold time exclusive events as well, which
Yeah,
has that sort of stuff that you can't get.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't knock it, but it's not something that I feel compelled to go back to.
So as of 2020, the game has received 80 million downloads and has grossed over $200 million. And people wonder why EA don't try harder,
I was going to say, this is why they're not doing a Simpsons game now, because they've got the one that's going to make them all the money forever.
I think as well, this was, as far as I'm aware, this was the first franchise. Since then, we've had Family Guy, Futurama, sort of city builders, and I may think that Futurama may have done it better, and I put money into it, and I'm still not even playing that. But from what I could tell, this is a solid city building game, even if, it's got the free-to-play trappings. Should we put it above or below Simpsons Wrestling?
I thought you were going to say Simpsons Hit and Run. I would put it below, personally. A lot of that is down to nostalgia, but I would be more inclined to go back and play wrestling now than Tapped Out.
We'll do a stream one day. I'm sure we will. We'll have a wrestling game and just be awful at it.
For WrestleMania. Let's do it for WrestleMania weekend.
With that in mind, let's run down the rankings of the Simpsons games that we have played asterisk. Starting off at the low end with D, we have Bart and the Beanstalk for the Game Boy. Then we have Escape from Camp Deadly for the Game Boy. For the Genesis, we have Virtual Bart. We have the Simpsons Bart versus the World, sorry. The Simpsons Bart versus the Space Mutants. In C tier, we have the Simpsons Skateboarding for the PlayStation 2. Bart versus the Juggernauts. Then we have the Simpsons Bart's Nightmare. Itchy and Scratchy Golf, which is still weird. The Simpsons Cartoon Studio. In B tier, we have the Simpsons. I'm just going to write Treehouse of Horror because I'm not squinting any harder. Virtual Springfield. The Simpsons Arcade. Then in A, we have Simpsons Tapped Out. The Simpsons Wrestling. The Simpsons Road Rage. The Simpsons Game. And then in S tier, Sexy Flanders, we have the Simpsons Hit and Run. Final thoughts?
Yeah.
There is a few nuggets of gold in a whole river of poo.
Just because you're a really good TV show doesn't mean you're going to adapt to other mediums well.
And then you have Futurama that's done one mainstream game, and it's pretty good. So
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
pretty good.
I guess that'll do it for us. Simpsons Hit and Run is the ultimate Simpsons game. You didn't need us to tell you that, but it's nice to have UDS clarification. Can't talk anymore.
Certification.
Join us next time for another tier making video, I assume. We're at upsidedownshark.com. Subscribe, do all that stuff. Ring that bell, suck that dick. That's my catchphrase. We will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.